Power FM Morning Show.
Welcome back to the show.
Well, just the other day, I was going to the Metroplex and to pick Valerie up. She'd been staying at her mom's for several days, and I got to hear what the new 94.9 FM sounds like, and I kind of knew this was coming. Read about it in industry. I wouldn't say newsletter. It would be websites or whatever would be talking about it.
It's a big deal.
KLTY, basically, and all the Salem music stations sold, and so that means that they bought KLTY, and I always wondered if K-Love could come into the Metroplex, because there already was a K-Love for all those. There was the oldie station, and somehow they had to go in and say, well, here's some money, change the name of your station, and we want to buy the intellectual property, right to use that in this market, and that was part of the deal as well. So your 98.7 K-Love is no longer called K-Love anymore. I don't know. Have you listened to the oldies lately?
I have to be honest that I ironically listen to radio so rarely anymore.
Okay.
But no, what do they call themselves now? You don't know?
I forget. I did know it a few days ago, but I forgot what it is now.
If only I had like some sort of little computer in my hand.
Yes, but so now they have the right to be able to call themselves K-Love, and so I went, I listened to a little bit of them, and it just sounds about like your generic, cookie cutter station, which they have one studio in California with all their DJs there, and 1,000 radio stations are on, and it just makes me so sad. It brings back the memories of us losing, 89.7 and that being taken over by the other company, because now two companies, or two ministries, so to speak, have gobbled up all the Christian radio music stations in the United States, basically. And it goes all the way back to the late 90s when they changed the law to allow you to own more than 10 AMs and 10 FMs, and no more than 1 AM and 1 FM in one city. And so, like all your big companies like ABC and CBS, they would have stations, basically in the top 10 markets. They always wanted to be in the top 10 markets, or that's because if you're only going to get 10, then you wanted to be in the biggest ones. And so that's your owned and operated stations. CBS had Q102 owned Q102 at one time, or KVIL. But when that got relaxed, where they could own 102 FM and KVIL, or they would actually own 4 or 5 stations, and it got to the point where maybe 3 or 4 companies own all the radio stations in America now. There's 2 big ones. I think iHeartRadio's one, and Cumulus is another, and so they pretty much have taken over the markets of all the stations in the country. And so there's no more mom and pop, except for maybe in small town radio, but even they are owned by kind of small groups that own stations in multiple small market cities.
Yeah.
So
So what's your thoughts on it? Do you think it's like a terrible thing, or it's just?
I think it makes
like
everything.
The AI thing we've been talking about. It's kind of like
it's less competition, less fire for excellence when it doesn't really matter, and it just it puts so many people out of work.
Yes,
everybody.
That's the big thing.
Yes, and it's an entire wonderful industry that you can't go tell a young person that I want to have a job in broadcasting. Well, there isn't any. There's only there's only just a handful of positions, and who's gonna let those go? These people that are in these spots, there's no other place to jump over to. It used to be, if I lost my job in Dallas, I'll go try and get a job in Denver, But if you lose your job in Sacramento, or you lose your job in Nashville, where are you going to go? I don't know.
I'm going to ask a really good question now. Do you think that they'll have broadcasting degrees for very long?
Oh, probably not. Probably not. No, or maybe they will, and not tell the kids. Just don't tell the kids there's no jobs. Just we'll take your tuition. Thank you for coming to school with us.
Yeah,
that'll be $100,000.
They train them to be podcasters. So yeah.
Well, we're out of time. It's time to wrap it up. Another edition of the Power FM Morning Show.